British commander of North American forces, General Thomas Gage, is installed as state governor. 55 years old, General Gage was made captain at 23 and, most recently, fought in the French and Indian War. There, he befriended a young American by the name of George Washington. As Gage returns to the colonies for this new governorship, the emerging revolution will place the two men at odds with one another. John Quincy Adams, future U.S. president, was a mere 8 years old when Boston was taken over.
Boston became a walled and beleaguered town, garrisoned by British grenadiers with Thomas Gage, their commanding general, commissioned governor of the province. For the space of 12 months my mother with her infant children dwelt, liable every hour of the day and of the night to be butchered in cold blood, or taken and carried into Boston as hostages by any foraging or marauding detachment of men.
At about this same time, the Quebec Act is passed and takes the power away from the French colony's elected body and instead gives it to a council appointed by England. It also extends Quebec's borders into the Ohio Valley. The colonists renamed the legislation the Intolerable Acts. Samuel Adams, on May 14, 1774.
This town has received a copy of an Act of the British Parliament, wherein it appears that we have been tried and condemned, and are to be punished by the shutting up of the harbor and other marks of revenge, until we shall disgrace ourselves by servilely yielding up, in effect, the just and righteous claims of America.
The Revolutionary War is about to begin. It is April 18, 1775. Boston-based Dr. Joseph Warren, active in the ever-growing American Patriots, receives word that British troops, who've come to be known as Redcoats, will march on the town of Concord. Warren dispatches 2 couriers to leave for Concord and warn the Patriot leaders Sam Adams and John Hancock. The messengers are successful, but naturally unable to stop the oncoming fight. April 19th. 700 Redcoats descend upon nearby Lexington, where Adams and Hancock had been hiding out. A British officer was usually an aristocrat, receiving a commission due to social class or through his own purchase. On the other hand, the non-commissioned officer strictly earned his title through hard work and merit, whereas the soldiers beneath them were often pressed into service or sometimes even kidnapped into it. And then there are the poor still, who are recruited with the promise of pay and adventure. The British Army's training drills are intense, and the product of that is a well-oiled regiment of soldiers. Most are around 5 years older than their colonial counterparts. Those years are often filled with battlefield experience. These are the soldiers en route to Lexington right now. Only 77 militiamen, led by Captain John Parker, stand between them and a takeover of the town. They are accompanied by several villagers. Captain Parker.
I ordered our militia to meet on the common in said Lexington to consult what to do, and concluded not to be discovered, nor meddle or make with said regular troops, if they should approach, unless they should insult or molest us. And upon their sudden approach, I immediately ordered our militia to disperse and not fire. Immediately, said troops made their appearance and rushed furiously, fired upon, and killed 8 of our party, without receiving any provocation therefore from us.
The Salem, a patriotic broadside newspaper, reports.
At Lexington, 6 miles below Concord, a company of militia of about 100 men mustered near the meeting house. The troops came in sight of them just before sunrise, and running within a few rods of them, the commanding officer accosted the militia in words to this effect: "Disperse, you rebels, damn you! Throw down your arms and disperse." Upon which the troops huzzaed, and immediately 1 or 2 officers discharged their pistols, which were instantaneously followed by the firing of 4 or 5 of the soldiers, and then there seemed to be a general discharge from the whole body.
The British side, Lieutenant William Sutherland of the 38th Regiment.
When we came up to the main body, colonists who were drawn up in the plain opposite to the church, when several officers were called out. "Throw down your arms, and you shall come by no harm," or words to that effect, which they were refusing to do. Instantaneously, the gentlemen, British officers, who were on horseback, rode in amongst them, at which time I heard Major Pitcairn's voice call out, "Soldiers, don't fire! Keep your ranks and form, and surround them." Instantly, some of the villains were got over the hedge, fired at us, and it was then, and not before, that the soldiers fired.
While no one knows exactly from which side the shot rings out, it goes down in history as the first shot of the Revolutionary War. The subsequent gunfire leaves 8 militiamen dead, and the British move on through Concord, searching for Continental weaponry. What's discovered is torched.
They also set fire to several other houses, but our people extinguished the flames. They pillaged almost every house they passed by, breaking and destroying doors, windows, glasses, and carrying off clothing and other valuable effects. It appeared to be their design to burn and destroy all before them, and nothing but our vigorous pursuit prevented their infernal purposes from being put in execution. But the savage barbarity exercised upon the bodies of our unfortunate brethren who fell is almost incredible. Not content with shooting down the unarmed, aged, and infirm, they disregarded the cries of the wounded, killed them without mercy, and mangled their bodies in the most shocking manner.
The torching ignites more than just buildings. It also fires the will of the militiamen, who are on the high ground above North Bridge, to return to Concord and defend their homes. They gather by 9 a.m. to a number of about 400 and begin the march across the bridge. 96 redcoats await them. Militia Commander Colonel Barrett orders his men to hold fire until the British appear, and then to fire as fast as they can in response. British shots are fired. The colonists retaliate, killing 2 British soldiers and wounding a 3rd. The British are unexpectedly overwhelmed by the Continental's returned volley. 60 years later, author Ralph Waldo Emerson describes it in his Concord hymn.
By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmers stood, and fired the shot heard round the world.
The British underestimate the Continental militia. They return to Concord Center and await reinforcements that do not arrive. Thus they begin the retreat back to Boston with 1,000 colonial militiamen following them. When the British reach a small bridge, the militia strike again and never stop firing. The British are outmaneuvered in the terrain that the colonists know so well. Even the addition of British reinforcements in Lexington failed to stop the colonials. Fighting continues until the redcoats are allowed a safe retreat under the safety of the gunships in nearby Boston Harbor. They bring with them a realization. The fight against the colonies has become more than mere civil disobedience. It is a revolution. The battles of Lexington and Concord leave 49 colonials and 73 British dead. The colonial army grew with its stream of reinforcements to about 3,960, while the British have only about 1,500. The Revolutionary War is in full swing. There is no turning back for either side as the British hold up in the city of Boston. The steadily increasing colonial reinforcements pen them in on all sides, but for the Boston Harbor to the east. British General Gage.
The rebels are not the despicable rabble too many have supposed them to be. In all their wars against the French, they never showed such conduct, attention, and perseverance as they do now.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.